Forest fans, Max Newton here, giving you a quick review of Nottingham Forest 2, Leicester City 2. Obviously, we went into this game knowing that a win would put us back into the top 5 because Newcastle beat Chelsea, and we're down to the last 3 games in the race for European football. And ultimately, it's not the result that we wanted nor that we expected. Against the Leicester side that are, one of the worst 6-7 teams in Premier League history. They're getting relegated with, I don't know, 22 points, something like that. So they've been pretty poor. They've not scored more than 1 goal in a game, apart from last week, for months. So, to concede that late goal was desperately disappointing. And I can understand the disappointment of the crowd and people on social media and stuff. But I think you've got to, catch yourselves on a little bit here and be a bit realistic. We shouldn't be being upset and we shouldn't be booing and we shouldn't be losing our heads at a Forest team that has secured European football for the first time since 96-97. Secured European football. The story of the day is Forest got the point to secure European football. It's absolutely blooming amazing. Phenomenal achievement. We can see from the size of squads and the quality, the quality that Newcastle were bringing on in the game before against Chelsea, Callum Wilson and people like that coming on. We're not at that level. Arguably, we're not at that level. Would we compete in Champions League football? Seeing the sort of football that Inter and Barcelona were playing, I don't think we would. But obviously, also Champions League football gives us the opportunity to invest in the squad, not lose our best players, and be able to compete at that level. So it's a bit chicken and egg in that sort of respect, isn't it? Excuse me, but yeah, if you're booing the side, if you're losing your heads, if you're criticising players, if you're having a go at them in the way I think some people are, then you've lost it, mate. The game itself, obviously, it was a real disappointment for Murillo not to be starting and Callum still absent. I think Morata has been a bit shaky last sort of 2 or 3 games, 3 or 4 games he's played, and I was worried about that defence, about the lack of pace in central defence. But I think it's defensive mistakes that have cost us, cost us the points. We've lost 7 points at home from the last 3 games. We should be getting more than 1 point from home games against Everton, Brentford, and Leicester if we're going to qualify for Champions League. But it's individual mistakes at the back that we weren't making in the first half of the season. And it's not being clinical up front that's costing us at the other end. Elanga scoring that breakaway goal chance against Crystal Palace in the last game, for example. Chris Wood putting in one of a couple of early chances in this game. And then, if we were to get that early lead, the whole game's different. So it's a bit of an unfortunate error from Matt Sells that led to their goal. But I thought we responded really well. We started the game well. I thought we responded really well. I was a bit surprised to see Sangare in midfield because I thought the game's probably made for Ryan Yates against Leicester, who was going to try and rough us up. But actually, I thought Sangare played really well. I thought he passed the ball around nicely. He broke play up well. I'd like to see him being a bit more effective further up the pitch. I thought Anderson started slow but got into the game. I thought Morgan Gibbs-White had a good game. Elanga looked really good, particularly first half. Nico Williams probably one of my players of the match. There was a moment in the second half period of play where he burst through about sort of 2 or 3 tackles and then launched attack upfield. But I think we see sort of Nico Williams was having to get a long way forward and be our most attacking player down that side, and ideally we'd have wingers playing up there. So I think it sort of showed the limitations of our squad a bit, and also the fact that if players are having a dip in form, which inevitably players will, we haven't got similar or better quality to come off the bench and replace them with. But great goal from Morgan Gibbs-White to bring us level. Really important for us to go level at half time. And second half, it was all Forest, and brilliant ball from Morgan Gibbs-White, brilliant header from Chris Wood, and you think, well, that's it. There's no way Leicester back in the game, because we were really controlling the game. I loved the way that we were we weren't rushing on the goalkeeper, but we were allowing him to play it into position and then boxing them in and closing them, then forcing them to go long. And 9 times out of 10, we're winning that ball back quite comfortably. But then a few errors crept in, which led to one big chance for them, and then just a really bad error that led to their goal. Yeah, really bad error that led to their goal. Still then we came forward and had some more half chances, but I don't think we managed the game very well after that. And Leicester could have nicked all 3 points. They had the tails off of it. Marinakis on the pitch, I think it's been blown out to be a bit more than it needs to be. It wasn't hardly a blazing argument on the pitch. Nuno's deflected it quite nicely, and that's not something to get overly het up about, in my opinion. He's a passionate manager. That's what you get. That's what we need to expect to have from him. So yeah, disappointing result. Secured European football. And we've still got a chance. If we win our last 2 games, we've got a chance of Champions League football. I think it's probably slim because Man United and Spurs play. I think Villa have got Man United and Spurs, and Chelsea have got one of them, and they're walking 3 points. So I'd expect them to, Chelsea and Villa to win those games, and it'd probably be out of our hands by the final game. But it might not be. As I said to Natalie Jackson as I was leaving the City ground, as King Billy said, there can be many more twists and turns in the rest of the season, even though it's only 2 more games. And Champions League football, Europa League football, it's been absolutely brilliant. Tis what it is, Natalie. Come on, you Reds.